Hey, horse friends. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the EquiLaser by 100X Equine. This is a really great product to add into your repertoire of just bodywork and making your horses comfortable. So it comes in this nice little carrying case from the company, not sponsored, by the way. Hint, hint, wink, wink. And you get the laser, you get the cord, and it does come with a small little manual for it. And then there's multiple different settings. The main one that I'm going to talk about today is the continuous high level setting, and you have timing that you can set it for in 5-minute increments up to 30 minutes. Now, one of the things that I have had the opportunity with is multiple bodyworks for my horses and different people to discuss and talk about the lasers, how they work. So there's a lot of information that goes into it that I will not discuss on this video. It's very nuanced and very involved. But essentially, with this particular handheld laser, it retails for about $300, which I know is not very cheap, but comparatively to other lasers and things that you can use, it is on the lower end. With that being said, one of my body workers has talked about with the power levels and the way that it penetrates into the skin and into the tissues that you want for this particular laser, you want it on the highest level. And for most of the body, you want it on the continuous setting. It also has a pulsing setting, which is really great for the tendons and the ligaments, along their legs and different stuff. So if you know where your horse might be sore or the type of work you've done, you can pinpoint those places and really do spot treatments. 15 minutes max every 6 hours. You don't have to do it every 6 hours, but you want that 6-hour span time so that the cells in the horse, in the body, can take that, the lasers and the healing processes and move it through and work on it. If you do more than that, and if you do it too frequently, you're actually not really getting any benefit from it after that point. I'm going to turn it back on, turn it back to continuous. And then I'm going to do his withers and shoulders area. That's a pretty common place that horses can be more tender just from working. So I turn it on. You can see the lasers coming out. And then I will push it up against the skin. Now, if you haven't done this with your horse, you want to start out with 30 seconds to a minute to start with and maybe move it around. You can press it against. You can hover it as well and see what works for your horse, what your horse likes. It does produce some heat. It's not a lot, but some horses are a little bit more sensitive to that. Some horses really like it. I've had one horse that I've done this on that literally leaned into the laser, and I had to kind of hold it up and everything because they just liked it that much and they wanted more of that feel. So I'm just going to keep going around. With a lot of things with body work and things with the horses that we look for is your releases, the size, licking and chewing, relaxation, dropping of the neck. I've had some horses that just tend to fall asleep. I have some that do stretches afterwards. So there's things that can happen during the initial treatment with the laser and things. There he goes. He's kind of relaxing and he's getting into it. He's feeling it. So right there, I moved the laser up just below his wither here and in between the scapula. And so he's liking that spot. So that's telling me he had a little bit of soreness there. Nothing major, right? He's not reactive to it in the sense of, oh, that really hurts. But it's like, oh yeah, that actually, I kind of need that. So I'll do this in different places throughout the horse and with other body workers of, equine massage therapists, chiropractors. They can tell you places that they did a lot of work or where the horse was showing up really sore. And you can use those as like the focal points. Or with another horse that I treat, the trainer tells me what they worked on and where they will most likely be sore, so I can kind of look at that. So, and I say treat. I am not a body worker. This is just something that I do just to help out. Understand that if this is something that you wanted to get into as more of a professional side to it for equine bodywork, you have to look up your state requirements for things like that and the way you'd want to go about it. For our state of Nevada, if I were to do something like this, I cannot use the term therapy, whether it was laser therapy or body therapy, different things like that, without being a licensed vet tech or veterinarian. There's other terminology that I could use. There's other ways that I can do it without having to do that, and I can still use the laser. That's fine. but I cannot put it as like an equine therapeutic practice, whether it's body things. I would assume most states, but I know in Nevada, you can't diagnose or give treatment suggestions on certain things if you are not a vet. That is the veterinarian's role. So just keep that in mind if this is something that you'd want to do as a potential profit. There are other laser options out there that you can use. This is a class 3B. So we can do class 1, 2, and 3 as layman people, just regular people and everything else. Class 4 is your medical grade that can only be used by veterinarians. That one does do burning and heat to treat whatever it might be that they're lasering. So those are things to consider and how you might want to use this and how to
Quick question. How do you know how long to keep it on each spot?
So, like I said, if you haven't done this with your horse before, you want to go about 30 seconds to 90 minutes, and it has a timer on the screen, so you keep an eye on that. Now, after that, you go up to about 3 minutes per spot, but you can do about 5 minutes. You tend to look at your horse and how they're responding. So if I have one that's leaning into it or pushing into it, or if I move away from a spot and the horse moves back to like they're fitting it there. So I read the horse a lot. So this takes a little bit of practice to really read the horse and what they're trying to tell you on what's working, what's not. And then if I'm unsure or I'm not really getting a reading from a horse, then I'll keep it in a light movement around an area. So you just listen to your horse, see what they tell you. If they're moving away from it multiple times, it's either they're just too sore and they just can't have that at that point in time, or they're just done with it. They're like, I don't want it there. I'm good. Right. So there's different ways that you can see that. And then again, if you're not getting any reading, then roughly about a minute and a half is good to kind of keep in an area. If they're particularly sore and they're really leaning into it or giving you signs that it's really something that they're liking, then you can go up to about 3 to 5 minutes in that spot.
And so do you treat the muscle areas on the back and the sides any different than the area like on the lower legs that have mainly tendons and ligaments, or does that?
So the lower legs, because of the tendons and the ligaments there, and they don't really have that muscling and everything else, we change the setting here so you can see it's continuous. It's just holding on the red light there. And so I can just change with a button and there it's now pulsing. So the main difference is that if I come down here and everything else, it's still penetrating in, it's still coming in, and it's going to get a little bit of that heat, but it's not going to be as sharp as the continuous light on there. This will allow it to just have those slight moments when it's pulsing like this to give those tendons and those ligaments a little bit of a break with it, because of the power behind the diodes, which are what's producing the light. So yes, the tendons and ligaments there, and you can use pulse at any point, too, right? Again, figure out what works for your horse, especially if it's new to using something like this and they're not necessarily used to that, because again, they will start to feel that and they will start to feel different things. So it could be continuous here, or it could be pulsing here. It could be continuous and you're hovering ever so slightly off of the horse, or they want you to push it into them. Again, it just kind of trial and error of figuring out what works best for your horse. And you can do the pull and the TMJ as you get up to the face here. I have it off right now, so I'm not going to be as careful about it. I can take that off a little bit. But as you get to the pole behind the ears, the TMJ, and you come down, you just want to be careful of the eye. This can damage the eyes, the lights and everything. As a class 3B, it's a lot stronger than like your class 2s. Class 2s, blinking will protect the eye and generally would take a lot of continuous contact to get any damage. This one, it's a little bit easier to damage, so just be careful. I like to put my hand up and everything else. If I have a horse that likes to move their head a lot, I generally won't do their pull or TMJ just because I don't want to risk their eyes. It's very important. So I really like the EquiLaser. And laser therapy for horses, laser treatment for horses is a really good modality to use. It's really helpful. I've seen a lot of improvement in my own horses as well as other horses that I've worked on with it, that it's just another way that we can help our equine partners and keep them happy, keep them comfortable, and keep them working and doing what we love with them. So if you have any questions, any comments, if you use anything like this, whether it's this one or one of the other brands that are out there that you can get, let me know your thoughts in the comments below.